There's research being done on Parkinson's, on osteoporosis, on cancer research, and a variety of other studies. Additionally, the microgravity laboratory provides a jumping off point for us as we venture back to the moon and onto Mars through longer duration space flights. One such example that the crew worked on during this mission was an alternative exercise device. In microgravity, the crew has to exercise for about 2 hours a day because they're not having the effects of gravity on their body. So to prevent bone and muscle loss, we counteract that with 2 hours of exercise per day. On board the International Space Station, they have 3 ways in which they can exercise. They have a bike, they have a treadmill, and they have a similar to a weightlifting machine that counteracts the microgravity environment. But a particular experiment that this crew tested out was a combination of all 3 of those in one smaller device. And this is really critical as we continue on to the moon, Mars, and beyond, because space is really important in spacecraft. So if we have something smaller that the crew might be able to utilize, that can potentially help us venture out even further into the solar system. So science is really the name of the game when it comes to the International Space Station. Some of the other science highlights that took place during this increment that are particularly interesting to me was we had the first wooden satellite that was deployed. This is a study to see if other materials might be more resourceful or renewable in space. So I'm really excited to see the results of that one as well. Additionally, we had a couple of spacewalks that took place to not only provide maintenance to the International Space Station, but also where we swabbed the outside of the space station near vents to see if any microbes that we all have microbes on us, to see if any of those could survive in the harsh environment of space, which again is very important for us to know and understand as we continue to the moon, Mars, and beyond.
Very exciting stuff. Now, at this point, we have now entered the communications blackout period for the Dragon spacecraft. This lasts approximately 7 minutes due to plasma formation around the spacecraft itself. During this time, no vehicle telemetry is received by mission control or the recovery team, and no external commanding of the vehicle or voice communication is possible. But as a reminder, Dragon is designed to fly itself. During re-entry, the vehicle will be slowing down from orbital velocity, which is approximately 17,500 miles per hour. The Freedom coming home to Earth.
And that view is from the WB-57, which is one of NASA's high-altitude planes that is tracking. Now, because of the way that this camera is configured, it does look like it is dark, but it is indeed daytime, and you're beginning to see that plasma trail as Dragon re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. All of that is expected. We are anticipating an acquisition of signal around 2:51 p.m. Pacific time, so just minutes from now, and you may hear the core begin to hail out or call Dragon for communications and see if we can potentially get communications with them a little bit earlier. Following this, we'll have 2 events in rapid succession. We'll have the drogue parachutes deploy at 2:53 p.m. Pacific, followed by the mains just 1 minute later at 2:54 p.m. Pacific time, ahead of a splashdown at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Obviously.
Is that it coming in?
Yeah, that's it. That's it coming in. Which is cool. It's pretty cool looking that's doing it.
3 minutes.
Pretty incredible views of the Dragon spacecraft making its way home back to planet Earth with the Crew 9 astronauts on board. Once again, this view is coming from the WB-57 plane. That heat shield we can see doing magnificent work as it works to
Freedom, SpaceX, Comcheck.
All right, we're going to start hearing the SpaceX crew operations resource engineer.
I'll get it.
Freedom is with you.
Elon Musk is a hero.
4.16. Enjoying the ride.
What? MSNBC is covering this?
Copy that, Freedom.
I don't think they have a choice at this point. They're so over the line now. I don't think MSNBC
Great news there
has a choice
from
but to
Commander
cover it.
Nick Hague reporting back.
We see a healthy flight computer. Expect automated chute deployment.
Freedom copies.
Like we said before, things moving very quickly as Dragon Freedom makes its way home.
Water, please. Thank you
Next
very
event
much.
coming up will be deployment of the
Very
drogue
awesome.
parachutes. This occurs around 18,000 feet.
GPS has converged. Expect nominal altitude
This is
for
awesome.
drogue
I
chute
love
deployment.
seeing this. The fact that we have an individual private businessman going up there saving astronauts is cool. But I do love the fact that it's a joint
We're about
NASA
2 minutes
SpaceX
away from deployment of
thing,
those
and
drogue parachutes.
We're actually headed back
Now
to
the heat
space.
shield is
That's awesome.
continuing
I just
to
think
work
that's
to
awesome.
slow the vehicle down. That entry period,
Because
the Dragon spacecraft went from
there's so
orbital
much
velocity about
benefit
17,500
to space
miles per hour
exploration and
down to about
the moon and then
350 miles per
beyond.
hour. So that
You're
really
talking
gives you
about
a
raw
sense
materials,
of
just
why
raw
that plasma
materials
builds up
alone
on the
that's sitting
exterior
out
of the
there.
capsule,
Like
thanks
on
to
Mars.
the heat shield and the
No
work
telling
that it
what kind
does.
of minerals
Those drogue
on that
parachutes will
planet
slow it down
alone.
from 350 to about 119 miles per hour. We can see
15 kilometers. Brace for drogue window.
we can see seat rotation happening inside the capsule. Great to get those first views of our crew members.
So I'm excited about it.
Once again, the capsules are going about 350 miles per hour when the drogues are deployed. Those drogue parachutes that we manufacture here in-house are going to slow the spacecraft down to 119 miles per hour. And that is when we will see the main parachutes deploy, and that occurs about 6,000 feet above the ocean's surface.
And we are expecting drogue deployment at 2:53 p.m. Pacific, so we should see
Look
it
at
any
that,
second now.
man.
And there
That's
you are
cool.
getting a great view of Crew 9
That is
inside
cool right there.
Dragon Freedom
Watch
as it
it falling
returns
down.
back to Earth. We are
Shoots to
awaiting the
deploy.
drogue deploys. This view coming from the WB-57
I mean,
high
look at
altitude
this.
plane.
Boom.
And there you see it on your screen, drogue deployment.
Drogue descent rate nominal.
Ooh, there they are. Look at those shoots coming out. That's awesome.
You can hear the crowd
That is
here.
awesome right there, folks. Take a look at that. That is really cool.
Capsule that they're in?
So, yeah,
The crowd here
that is
very
pretty cool.
excited as Dragon Freedom continues to make its way back to planet Earth.
How cool. The view from the capsule. I mean, you know they got to be happy. After being up there all that time, getting stranded in space.
Next up, we'll stand by for
And then
the
here we
main
go.
deployment of the parachutes. The mains are quite a bit larger. You'll be able to notice the difference on your screen once they deploy, and they continue to ensure that the Dragon spacecraft slows down even further. As we mentioned, Freedom will be traveling 16 miles per hour when it splashes down off the coast
That's
of
just cool.
Tallahassee, Florida, here at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. And there we go.
We have
There's the
visual on
main
4
shoots.
healthy
Look at
mains.
that. Bam. 4 healthy big
That
shoots
view
slowing
is
it down
from
dramatically.
inside-
Freedom copy.
That's really
that view is
cool.
from inside one of the buckets where the
That's
parachutes
really
are
cool.
located. So we see a great view there of the reefing on those parachutes, and as
Heck
those
yeah.
those main
Splashdown
parachutes begin
coming.
to inflate fully, 4 beautiful, healthy mains.
Here it is.
Now awaiting visuals of
That's big
Splashdown.
contact.
Freedom. 1,000.
Oh, I love it.
We'll start to hear Commander Nick Hague.
Absolutely
Copy,
love it.
1,000.
As we heard right there, Commander Nick Hague will be calling out the altitude of the Dragon capsule from here on out. Landing in water is simpler and provides more margin against unlikely parachute issues. You can see those parachutes continuing to slow the Dragon capsule down.
And if you're
It's
just
just
joining
crazy
us,
how
we're
fast
looking
it
at
comes in.
800
and then
meters.
a live view of Crew 9, just minutes away from splashing
800
down off the
meters.
coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Splashdown 2 minutes from now at 2:57 p.m. Pacific. We do have 4 healthy mains really doing the job there. Just breathtaking
beautiful.
views of a calm, glass-like ocean off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Crew 9 just minutes away from splashing down.
This is really such an incredible shot. That
Copy,
was
600.
That was a live view from our recovery vessel, Megan, which is stationed a couple miles away from the
Yeah, I agree. I'm
splashdown
curious
site.
about that myself. How
We can
long will
see
it
the
take them
crew
to
there
acclimate to be having
using
gravity?
their
again, because they've
restraints
been without it
as
for a
resting
while.
places for their arms. They were just
So
in space
I believe
moments
the
ago.
thing is, when you're that
so
long
their
in
arms
space,
are able to float freely.
you expand. I believe
400
because
meters.
there's nothing to compress your joints and the tissue and all that thing.
This is a
together. So I
gorgeous
think your body,
bluebird day here
your
that we
long
have
gains.
for the splashdown
I
of
believe it's
Crew
how
9.
it works.
It's incredible to think that the Dragon capsule just minutes ago was going
kinda cool.
over
It's kinda weird, but it's kinda cool.
17,000 miles per hour, and now gently coasting to a soft splashdown.
It looks like it's going to slow motion. I mean, it's really not, but it really looks
Copy,
like it
200
is.
meters. Brace for splashdown.
As you can see there
here
on
we
your
go.
screen, continuing to monitor progress
Oh,
of the Dragon spacecraft. And we're going to stand by for splashdown, located in the Gulf of America, off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Things like this make you proud to be an American. Not just an American, but a human being when they pull stuff off like this.
And
It
splashdown.
ain't about
Crew
anything
9
else but
back on
saving
Earth.
people and doing something that's unique. That was great. That was awesome. What a cool looking sight. And look how close they were. They knew exactly where the sucker was coming down. Look how close they are to that capsule.
Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
It is,
If you're not excited about that, you see something like this happen, that doesn't excite you a little bit.
Capsule full of
Something's wrong with you, I
year
think.
to year.
That is a huge, huge accomplishment right there. That is crazy how big of a deal that is. That right there. That's wild. That
And
capsule was
as you can
pristine
see
when it
on
left
your
Earth.
screen, we have visual
It was pristine when
confirmation
it left
of
the,
splashdown. Dragon Freedom
ISS
has
station.
returned home, and NASA astronauts.
System safety verifications are in progress. We'll report
Hot.
back when recovery personnel are
The
en route.
atmosphere is just burning it up like that.
Understand. And, we're in section
Yeah,
2,
that's cool.
4.800 landing response.
Didn't they land in the Gulf of America?
Looking for your word.
Isn't that where they landed at? I don't know.
Necessary.
I did not catch that part.
In the distance, we can see the recovery vessel making its way.
Copy, you're in section 2 for the environmental assessment in 4.800. That is not necessary today.
I'd be like, guys, y'all are too slow. Y'all need to hurry up and get here and let me out of this damn capsule.
Understand.
I'm ready to get out of it.
So what are they?
Yep.
So we will continue to have communications between the Corps and Nick Hague, the commander of Crew Dragon Freedom, which just splashed down 2 minutes ago off the coast of
That water's
Tallahassee,
beautiful.
Florida. Dragon Freedom
Wow,
has
look how
returned home
blue and
with NASA
pretty it is out
astronauts
there.
Nick Hague, Sonny Williams, Butch Wilmore, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunoff. They're back on Earth after approximately 17 hours of a return journey from space.
The SpaceX
knew
recovery
this
ship
capsule
and
17
team have
hours.
been waiting for Dragon's splashdown, and they will now
And
make
that
their
little
way
bitty
to
thing
the
right there.
splashdown location. The teams have been ready and waiting about 3 nautical miles away, so it's going to take them about 30 minutes or so to make their way
And
to.
SpaceX Freedom. Pretty sure we're in stable 1.
Copy, stable 1. We see the same.
30 minutes.
It's going to
Dang.
take about 30 minutes for the recovery team to make their way over to Nick, Sonny, Butch, and
seems like a
Alexander,
long
who
time to
are
have to wait
still
after
seated
you
and
got down there in
secured
that water.
inside that Dragon spacecraft there on your screen. Incredible views there of that thermal protection system, or TPS. That
an
Dragon
astronaut, you've
capsule
got
was
absolute balls of
pristine,
steel,
white color
titanium,
before it departed the
non-meltables.
station.
I mean,
We
you're
can
just-
see how the re-entry phase,
Your bravery is on
the
another
thermal
level.
protection. Once it is loaded up with the Dragon spacecraft on board, the nest will be translated to the forward end of the recovery vessel, and that is where our Crew 9 team members will egress from the Dragon spacecraft. Now, here on your screen, we can see
Dolphins.
Dolphins, actually,
See 'em?
who want to come and
Dolphins.
play with Dragon. Now, one of the fast boats
That's
there
cool.
in place, working to assist the recovery team member. It's incredible. I just love these views. We really see them even better in daytime, but just seeing the
That's
recovery team
badass.
work in tandem
That's kinda
to
badass.
step through each step, to step through each operation. You know, obviously they're getting quick assists from the honorary part of the recovery team, those dolphins in the water there.
As we mentioned multiple times, his name Megan, but that's actually after NASA astronaut Megan MacArthur, who flew on Crew 2 a couple of years ago. We're getting some views now from actually inside the boat.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This view is straight down the recovery vessel. That platform that was closest to the camera, that is the egress platform.
Freedom, rigging is almost complete. Approximately 5 minutes until capsule lift.
5 minutes.
Great news there from SpaceX Core. So about 5 minutes left until we see Dragon Freedom get lifted out of the water. That hydraulic arm, as I said before, is the mechanism that will lift it. It's quite swift, actually, the whole process of getting the spacecraft.
Brace for capsule lift.
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes, Dragon Freedom being lifted out of the water and onto our recovery vessel, Megan.
So do they know what's going on the whole time?
What, in the capsule?
The
Astronaut?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely no. Yeah. His ass into the ship, the proper name. I don't know. Seems like it to me. What do they call that? Aft? Port? Aft? I don't know nothing about a boat.
So once securely on...
Welcome aboard the recovery vessel. Recovery personnel are completing final checks and stand by for translation to the egress platform.
Freedom copies.
Great news there, letting us know that Dragon Freedom
just,
has
okay, so
been
it's just
successfully recovered from
and here's the thing, like
water's
when they come out,
surface.
the gravity.
If you've just
Right,
joined
I
us,
wonder
we
how it
have
feels to them
an
already, 'cause
on-time
gravity's already
splashdown
gotta be
at
hitting
5:57 p.m. Eastern
Because
time.
gravity already has to
and
affect
we
them.
can
They haven't
now
tried to
see
stand up or anything
that
yet.
the
They have
water
to
recovery
feel
operations
the pull of the
are
Earth
continuing to progress.
gravity
The nest
on
where
their
the
bodies right now.
Dragon
That has to
spacecraft
be-
is located
that
is
has to
going
be something
to
else.
get moved forward. This will happen after
Yeah,
one of
I
the
think she
recovery
definitely
crew
said
members
half
does some checks, and we'll also
But it
see
didn't
some
sound like
hosing.
ass.
Obviously, the spacecraft splashed down in salt water. Salt water is corrosive, and we want to try and rinse out as much of the salt water as possible to reduce that corrosion on the metallic structures. So we can see some guidance there being provided, really steering the spacecraft properly into the Dragon's nest.
And it's been 30 minutes since Dragon splashed down, and as you can see there, the spacecraft is already on board the recovery vessel Megan. Things continuing to move very smoothly today throughout the entire operations from the deorbit burn up until this point as well.
Things you
And
never
Freedom,
got
it
to
looks
see
like
50
the
years
positioning
ago.
wasn't quite right, so they are working
Well,
on
actually
repositioning
longer
the
than
capsule in
that.
the nest now.
Okay, copy that. Thanks.
And with that, the team is just going to adjust the Dragon spacecraft a bit so that it's in the right position ahead of translating up a little bit closer ahead of the side hatch. So the team is now going to step through the procedures to ensure that that takes place.
While Dragon does fly itself autonomously, it clearly is unable to park itself autonomously. We want to make sure that the Dragon capsule is properly seated there
It's
in
like
that
playing
nest.
the claw game. This has been. It's been
Once
a while since I watched this.
once once Dragon is fully seated in the nest, we'll probably see a bunch of that salt water come out from the bucket there located underneath the side hatch. See some saltwater splash out. As I mentioned before, one of the recovery team members will begin hosing down the exterior of the spacecraft.
So you are continuing to get some great live views on your screen of Crew 9, which includes NASA astronauts
It is cool that we
Nick
get to
Hague,
see all
Sunny
of this,
Williams, Butch Wilmore, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, who splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon.
Right there with everybody.
Now working to get that spacecraft situated in the nest.
Something we didn't always get to see.
Just making some final adjustments and tweaks to ensure that it's nice and secure.
There it is, sitting in the cradle.
So I wonder when they get reunited with their family.
Once the
I
spacecraft
don't know, because they have to go back to the coast and have to fly back to
and
Houston.
Secured and oriented correctly in the nest, Dragon will be moved
So
into
then they
the
have to get
hangar
debriefed
located
there.
underneath that helipad
So
that
there'll
we
be
saw
that,
earlier from the aerial views during recovery.
All that has to be done. I just wonder how.
Chick Place, thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that support. We got people tuning in all over the world. It's great to have you here. My is in San Diego. We got Alaska in Alaska. We got Mendocino in Sweden. Welcome. Nathaniel's in Kodiak, Alaska. Tamaris. And there is translation happening of Crew Dragon Freedom. You can see them spraying it down, making sure that it is all safe and ready for that crew to get right up next close to it. RM's in El Salvador. Todd's in Washington. John's in Rochester. Collins in Jacksonville. Let's listen back in to NASA and SpaceX as we get ready to welcome home Crew 9 and Butch and Sunny as their mission finally comes to an end.
Water, so we're trying to rinse off as much of that salt water as possible, and we can see the spacecraft continuing to move closer and closer to that recovery deck.
Freedom, the crew is working on side hatch opening now. Expect hatch open in about 2 minutes.
Okay, copy that. And Kira, just wanted to say that you guys, you and the team did an awesome job.
I'll be that guy.
Were they trying to get the hatch up? Or
Yep. Here it comes.
And there you have it. The side hatch is open for the first time since September.
That dude, don't come in here. We want to come out there. Like, what the hell? We want to be where you just came from.
We can see some of the protective equipment there that was brought into frame that will help protect the edge of the side hatch. One from any potential damage. Oh, we can see the recovery crew member there taking photos of the, generally speaking,
And
there you go.
And there we do see Crew 9, some happy waves, smiles all around.
That Russian guys like
Earth.
this, y'all take y'all's time in America. Y'all just taking y'all's time in America. I want some Taco Bell, man.
Generally speaking,
One of those stretchers, this is the expected procedure as the crew will be taken to medical facilities following their exit from Dragon.
Meanwhile, back on the ISS.
we can see folks on board clapping as our first crew member.
And that is NASA astronaut Nick Hague, commander of Crew 9, now out of Crew Dragon Freedom. Some smiles, thumbs up, and a wave. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah, that is one happy
Those are
camper,
cool.
that's for
Looking,
sure.
something
Alexander
that they're going to have to figure
Gorbanov,
out. What does
first
that mean?
space
What does
flight.
that look like?
Spent
I mean, how does it affect
171 days in
embryos
space
and
alongside
sperm and
NASA
all that
astronaut
stuff
Nick
when you're
Hague.
trying to conceive?
Looks like we're getting
It's
some
amazing.
cheers and clapping on
Because of the
board
lack of gravity, for that matter.
as Alexander is slid down the little ramp and placed into the mobility aid. Once again, big smile.
Yeah, I don't think you would ever be able to have a baby in space.
Well, you wouldn't.
You know, to retrieve the spacecraft from the water, and just several minutes here while it's been on board, and to get everyone, really to get that side hatch open.
So this capsule was in development 5 years ago. They were testing it out. You know, this is a SpaceX capsule. It's not NASA.
For those of you that have just
So,
recently
just 5
joined,
years ago, they were doing
the
test runs
Dragon
on
had
this
an
capsule to see if it
on-time
could do-
splashdown. Looks
hold
like
up
we're
in
getting our
space and
next
all the
crew
things
member
they had to
here.
do to make it
That is
spaceworthy.
none other than Sunny Williams. Big smile, big waves. She, like her other crew members, now will be assisted onto the mobility aid.
She's like, whoa, this got heavy. 286 days without gravity. Holy crap.
There we have it. Some waves, some thumbs up, and some smiles.
She's happy.
Definitely seems to be a theme among all recovery
Yeah, they're all
operations.
happy to be home.
Absolutely. And of course, that leaves NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore inside Dragon in seat 4.
We got it quick. Wasn't no wasted time on this one.
No.
He's like, I beat my stretcher out here. Y'all got to come on.
We're getting some views of him now as he egresses or exits the spacecraft.
Once again, some elation and cheers there from Butch Wilmore.
That was pretty cool, guys. Thanks for joining us here as we did this today. That was interesting. That was really interesting, watching all that. What a long live, and it actually worked, hour and 12 minutes. Good Lord. What I understand is the capsule is full of supplies when it arrived on at the space station, pretty much empty except for the astronauts. Yeah. That's what I understood too. Because I know when I watched it the other night, as they were unloading it, they were unloading a lot of stuff off of it. So, hey, cool. That was cool. Zen, appreciate you hanging in there with me today, buddy. I do. As we get back on track to do some more reactions and stuff like that, and do some of this kind of fun stuff. It's been a wild few weeks, but we're back on track. We will be this week and get some more stuff in. I appreciate it, bud. See you in the chat. Hit me up. Guys, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time.